Hey Reddit, throwaway account because some of our friends are on here and I'm not ready for the whole world to know everything yet. So yeah, I, 6M, have been married to my wife, let's call her Kay, for 9 years. We met in our late 20s, hit it off right away, got married 2 years later. Honestly, we had a pretty good run. At least I thought we did. Lately, though, I've been questioning everything, like literally everything: my marriage, my memory, my judgment, my self worth, all of it. The first signs were subtle, and I'll admit I brushed them off because I didn't want to believe anything was wrong. She started working out more, which I encouraged at first. Self care, she said. Cool, go you. Then came the new clothes. Suddenly, she had a whole new wardrobe that I never saw her wear around me. Tight dresses, lacy tops, push up bras I didn't even know she owned. Then she started going out with her friends more often. Girls' night this, wine tasting that. No problem, have fun. But she'd come back late, sometimes after midnight, sometimes not until morning, with a story already locked and loaded. My phone died. Jenna's car broke down and we had to wait for AAA. I didn't want to wake you. Always something. Always too perfect. I feel like an idiot now writing this. Hindsight is brutal. At the time, I just told myself I was being paranoid, that it was me. Maybe I was too boring. Maybe I'd gotten complacent. Maybe I was projecting my insecurities onto her. So I doubled down. I cooked more, planned little date nights, bought her flowers, but she got colder, less affectionate, shorter with her answers. Sometimes I'd touch her and she'd flinch, like I was a stranger. I started wondering if there was someone else, but I didn't want to be that guy, the snooper, the jealous husband who checks her phone or follows her around like a lunatic. But then came the night everything started to unravel. It was a Saturday night, and she said she was going out with her friend Jenna again. Same script. Don't wait up. We might crash at her place. We'll probably be wine drunk and watching rom coms. I nodded, kissed her on the cheek, and told her to have fun. But something felt off. I don't know how to explain it, but there was this weird tension in the air when she left. She barely made eye contact, and her hug felt like she was trying not to touch me too much. It wasn't even physical, it was emotional distance, like I was an obligation she was trying to escape. Around midnight, I was still up, couldn't sleep. Call it gut instinct, call it paranoia, but I opened Instagram and checked Jenna's story. Yeah, I know how pathetic that sounds. Here's the kicker: Jenna had posted a pic of herself at home in pajamas, eating ice cream with her dog. No mention of Kay, no wine night. No friends over, nothing. And it was time stamped at 9:15 p.m. I sat there staring at my phone like someone had just punched me in the chest. I refreshed it 5 times hoping I was wrong, hoping maybe Kay was just late showing up, or that it was an old photo, or hell, I don't even know. So I texted her. How's Jenna? She's good. We're watching the proposal and drinking too much wine, lol. Cute. Tell her I said hi. Will do. Will do. Right? I stared at that emoji for like 10 minutes. It felt like a slap in the face. Now, here's where I probably crossed a line, but I was spiraling. I couldn't help myself. I remembered she had Find My iPhone enabled because she once made me turn it on when she lost her phone at Target. I opened it. She wasn't at Jenna's. She was at some apartment building on the other side of town. I watched the little dot just sitting there. For 2 hours. She didn't come home that night. She walked in at 7:13 a.m. I remember the exact time because I was sitting on the couch, still in the same clothes from the night before, just waiting. I hadn't slept. I couldn't. My brain was playing a highlight reel of every suspicious thing from the last 6 months. She came in all casual, wearing one of those oversized hoodies that wasn't hers. It was way too big. And she smelled like some cologne I'd never worn in my life. Her hair was messy, makeup smeared, and she had the nerve to yawn and say, "Ugh, I'm so tired." Jenna and I stayed up talking all night. I didn't say anything at first. I just stared. She looked over at me, surprised. "You're up early. Didn't sleep." I said. "Why not?" Because Jenna was at home all night, alone, with her dog, watching TV. She posted it on Instagram. Her face for a half second, just long enough for me to catch it before she launched into a performance that honestly deserves an Oscar. Oh, that, yeah, I was at Jenna's, but then her boyfriend came over and they started arguing, so I left and went to see Marcy instead. That's where I ended up crashing. I stared at her. "You weren't at Marcy's either." Another freeze, another beat. What, are you tracking me now? You left Find My iPhone on. You were at an apartment on Birchwood Avenue. Who lives there? And just like that, the switch flipped. She went cold, eyes narrowed, arms crossed, voice flat and defensive. You're being controlling. This is insane. I don't have to explain every little thing I do. Maybe I just wanted some space. Space with another man? I said. And her reply, I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer. Then she stormed off into the bathroom, like I had just violated her trust. I sat there in silence, heart racing, hands shaking, and I realized something. She was lying. Blatantly, without a shred of shame, and I didn't even know who she was anymore. She stayed in the bathroom for a good 30 minutes. I could hear the shower running, doors closing, drawers slamming. I sat there in the living room just numb. I wasn't angry in that moment. I wasn't sad. I was in this weird emotional limbo, like I'd just been hit by a truck, but my brain hadn't caught up to the pain yet. When she finally came out, she was already dressed, hair still wet, makeup on. She looked me dead in the eye and said, I'm going to brunch with the girls. That's it. No apology, no further explanation, just brunch. Like she hadn't just stayed out all night at some random guy's apartment, lied to my face, and gaslit me when I called her on it. I couldn't take it anymore. "Kay," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Are you cheating on me?" She scoffed, and rolled her eyes. "No, God, I can't believe you'd even ask me that." "Then who lives at that apartment?" I pressed. "Just tell me the truth. I need you to tell me the truth." She grabbed her purse and said, "You're being ridiculous. I'm not doing this with you right now." And out the door she went. I just sat there for hours. I didn't eat, didn't move, just replayed the conversation over and over in my head. The deflection, the lack of emotion, the total disregard for how I felt. It was like talking to a brick wall, wearing my wife's face. Later that afternoon, I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened her laptop. Yeah, I know. I felt like crap doing it. But I couldn't just sit there and keep doubting myself. I needed answers. Something concrete. What I found made me physically sick. There was a hidden folder on her desktop labeled Taxes 2022. Inside were screenshots, text messages, selfies, videos, all of it. Her and another man. His name was Josh, and they'd been seeing each other for 8 months. Josh. His name was Josh. And he wasn't just some random hookup or a rebound fling. This guy had history with her. I recognized his name immediately. We'd gone to college together. He was the kind of douchebag who always wore designer cologne and talked about his gym routine like it was his religion. I remember Kay mentioning him once, back when we were dating, said he used to flirt with her a lot, but she wasn't interested. Guess that was another lie. I sat there going through their messages, and it felt like reading someone else's life. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of texts, all full of little in-jokes, flirtatious banter, and plans to meet up. She told him things she hadn't told me in years. She sent him pictures and outfits I'd never seen. Told him she missed him. Called him babe. There was one message I'll never forget. K. I wish I could just live my real life with you and not have to pretend all the time. Pretend. So I was the pretend. Our life together, the house, the marriage, the plans we made, it was just her acting. I was the background character while she lived her real life somewhere else. I didn't even notice I was crying until the laptop blurred in front of me. And then I snapped. I'm not proud of this, but I screamed, like full on, from the gut screamed. I threw a pillow across the room, hit the wall so hard my knuckles bled. I couldn't believe it. 8 years of trust gone, replaced with selfies and I miss you texts to a guy I hated. I texted her, don't bother coming home. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. I didn't pick up and the text started. What are you talking about? Can we just talk about this? Why are you going through my stuff? You're being irrational. You're scaring me. Scaring her? Unreal. I didn't respond. I couldn't. There was nothing left to say. The truth wasn't just out. It had exploded, and now I had to figure out how to live in the wreckage. She came back that night. Around 9:30 p.m., I heard her keys jingling in the lock, and my whole body tensed up like I was bracing for war. She walked in slow, like she wasn't sure what kind of battlefield she was stepping into. I was sitting on the couch again, same spot. Except this time, I had her laptop open next to me, and a printed screenshot of the Taxes 2022 folder cover page sitting on the coffee table, like Exhibit A. She barely made it 2 steps into the living room before I said, "Sit down." She stood there with her arms crossed. "Why are you acting like this?" I pointed to the folder. She looked at it, didn't flinch, didn't deny it, just muttered, "I was going to end it." My laugh came out sharp, like I couldn't control it. "Oh, you were going to end it? When? Before or after the beach trip you two planned for next month?" She went red. "You weren't supposed to see that." I stood up. "You mean I wasn't supposed to know that my wife is sneaking around with someone she claimed was just a creep from college? Do you know how insane this is, Kay?" Then she started crying. Like, really crying. But I couldn't tell if it was real or performative anymore. That was the worst part. I used to know her. Now, every word out of her mouth felt like it came with a disclaimer. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't mean for it to go this far." I exploded. "You didn't mean for it to go this far? You have an entire secret digital scrapbook of your affair. You lied to me every single day for 8 months. You looked me in the eye, kissed me goodnight, made plans for the future while sneaking off to some loser's apartment to play house." She started begging then. Full on, tear-streaked desperation. I just, I felt like I wasn't seen anymore. "You were always working. We stopped talking. Josh made me feel like myself again." That's when I realized she wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. I said nothing. I walked past her into the bedroom, locked the door, and slept alone that night. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just stared at the ceiling for hours and thought, this marriage is dead. The next few days were surreal. We lived in the same house like two strangers with a shared mortgage. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I barely spoke. And she acted like she was walking on eggshells, but still had that undercurrent of entitlement, like I was being dramatic for not talking it out. She kept trying to start conversations, soft ones at first. "Do you want coffee? Can I make you something to eat? Do you want to talk tonight?" I ignored them all. Then came the guilt traps. "I know I messed up, but you shutting me out is hurting both of us. You're not even trying to fix this." I made a mistake, but that doesn't mean we just throw everything away. Throw everything away? That one nearly made me lose it. Like I was the one crumpling up our life together and tossing it in the trash. And tossing it and thinking, how do you cheat, lie, and manipulate for months and still find a way to make yourself the victim? I started digging through more of her stuff, not out of revenge, not even really out of curiosity. I just needed clarity, needed to understand what the hell I'd missed. I found another phone, an old iPhone in the back of her sock drawer. Dead, but I charged it. And guess what? The real treasure chest was in there. A second Instagram account, burner texts, voice notes, nudes. Her calling me boring to him. Her saying she felt trapped. Her saying she didn't know how to leave without looking like the bad guy. Well, surprise, Kay, you are the bad guy. I backed everything up. Every screenshot, every message. I needed proof. I needed something to hold on to because I still couldn't fully believe this was my life. I talked to a lawyer the next day, not because I was 100% ready to divorce her yet, but because I wanted options. I wanted control again. She'd been steering this ship straight into hell for almost a year while I was sitting there rearranging the deck chairs. I didn't confront her again. Not yet. I wanted her to keep thinking I was broken, silent, defeated. Because honestly, I was done playing checkers. It was time for chess. So now that I had everything, screenshots, audio messages, burner account access, I decided to wait, to observe, to give her enough rope to hang herself even further. And she didn't disappoint. 2 days after I found the second phone, she suddenly started acting sweet, like 2017 honeymoon phase sweet, making dinner, laughing too loud at my barely there jokes, wearing that perfume I bought her last Christmas that she forgot she had, sitting closer on the couch like nothing had happened. "Do you want to go on a weekend trip?" she asked out of nowhere. I just raised an eyebrow. "Why?" She smiled. "To reconnect. I know things have been hard, but I want us to heal." Heal? This woman went full-blown double life on me, and now she wants to go to a cabin and roast marshmallows? I said I'd think about it. That seemed to please her. She kissed me on the cheek like a scripted gesture and walked off humming. Humming. That night, I logged into the fake Instagram account again. Guess who she messaged? "He's starting to soften up. I think I've bought myself more time. More time. Like, this was some kind of hostage negotiation. I stared at that message for a long time. Not because I was surprised anymore. I was past that, but because I realized how calculated she was. This wasn't a slip up. This was someone who studied how to deceive. She was good at it. Too good. But the cracks were forming. The performance was starting to wear thin. She forgot to log out of her burner Instagram on her iPad. She left her messages open once on the kitchen counter, and each time I gathered more evidence. She kept saying she ended it with Josh, but their last message was literally the night before. Josh, so when's the divorce happening? Soon. I'm playing the long game. The long game. This wasn't a marriage anymore. It was a war zone, and I had a spy living in my house. I started sleeping in the guest room, told her it was just to clear my head. She acted hurt. You don't even hug me goodnight anymore. No, I don't hug poison. At this point, I wasn't thinking if I would leave, only when, and how hard I dropped the hammer when I did. It all came to a head 1 week later. We were in the kitchen. She was making dinner, chicken Alfredo, her apology dish. She always cooked it when she wanted to smooth things over. It used to work, not anymore. She was rambling about how she'd found a couple's retreat in the mountains. It's got hot tubs, hiking trails, and these therapy sessions by a fire pit. Doesn't that sound amazing? I was staring at her, not really listening, because in my pocket was a printed copy of everything: the texts, the Instagram burner DMs, the emails, a timeline of all her lies, her hotel stays, her cute little beach plan with Josh, and taped to the front, a copy of her message. Soon. I'm playing the long game. I slid it onto the table between us like I was playing a card in poker. She looked at it, then up at me. And for the first time in months, she shut the hell up. Her face drained. She reached for it slowly, like maybe it was something else, some misunderstanding, some cruel joke. She flipped through a few pages, then whispered, "Where did you get this?" I didn't say anything. She looked up at me, and the mask finally cracked. No fake tears, no sweet apologies, just cold panic. "You've been spying on me?" I laughed. Couldn't help it. Spying? No, Kay. I was investigating. There's a difference. Her voice raised. This is a violation of privacy. I slammed my hand on the table. You cheated on me. You violated this marriage. You lied every day for almost a year, and now you want to cry about privacy? She started crying again. This time it looked real, raw, ugly. I didn't know how to stop, she said. It just happened, and I felt alive again. Josh, he made me feel like I mattered. I sat back in my chair and said quietly, "So I didn't?" She didn't answer. That silence hit harder than any scream ever could. I stood up, walked into the bedroom, grabbed the duffel bag I'd packed earlier, and walked toward the door. She followed me, sobbing. "Wait, what are you doing?" "I'm going to stay with my brother," I said. "You've got a lot of alone time coming. Might as well start now." She reached for my arm. "Please don't leave like this." I pulled away. "You left first, Kay. You just forgot to pack." And then I walked out. Didn't look back. Walking out of that house felt like stepping out of a burning building. My ears were ringing, my chest was tight, and for the first time in forever, I could breathe. I drove to my brother's place. He already knew something was up. Apparently, I hadn't been hiding my stress as well as I thought, but I hadn't told him the full story until that night. We stayed up until 2 a.m. I laid it all out: the cheating, the lies, the fake accounts, the manipulation. He listened without interrupting. At the end, he just said, "I'm glad you finally got out, man. You've been ghosted in your own marriage for a long time." That hit me hard. Because he was right. The weirdest part of those first few days away? Silence. Not just from her, though, yes, there were no calls, no texts, no "I miss you" messages, no sudden declarations of love, just silence. It was like once I left, she didn't know how to function anymore. The game was over, and she didn't know how to play when she wasn't the one holding the cards. And me? I felt empty, numb, mostly. I thought leaving would feel like some huge liberating act, like slamming a door and walking into freedom. And in some ways it was. But there's also grief, a weird kind of grief. Not for her, not anymore, but for the version of my life I thought I had, for the imaginary wife who didn't exist, for the home I tried to build on top of lies. That weekend, I went through our old photos. I deleted hundreds of them, kept a few with my dog. That's it. She finally texted on Sunday afternoon. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I still love you." I didn't reply. Not out of pettiness, but because I realized something. Love doesn't look like betrayal. It doesn't hide phones or gaslight you or call you boring to someone else while lying in your bed. Her version of love was manipulation, control, self preservation. Mine was trust, loyalty, hope. We weren't in the same relationship, not even close. By midweek, the silence was over, and oh boy, when she broke it, she came in swinging. I woke up to a barrage of texts. So you're just gonna walk out like a coward? You think you're some kind of hero? You were emotionally unavailable for years. Maybe if you paid attention to me, I wouldn't have needed someone else. I didn't cheat, it was just emotional, until you pushed me away. Ah, there it was. The gaslighting greatest hits. She went from I love you to you made me cheat in less than 48 hours. Classic. She even called my mom, told her I was being impulsive and trying to ruin a good marriage over one mistake. Luckily, my mom already knew the truth. She didn't entertain it. Just told her, maybe you should have thought about that before you started playing house with another man. Boom. Now, Kay wasn't just texting, she was posting vague crap on Facebook. You know the type. People love to play victim when they can't handle the truth. Sometimes you don't realize what you had until it's gone, or until he takes the dog with him. Damn right, I took the dog. He never liked her anyway. Then came the last card in her deck. On Thursday night, she showed up at my brother's place, unannounced. I opened the door, and there she was, makeup smudged, hoodie on, fake tears loaded. I just wanted to talk, she whispered. Please, can we fix this? I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. I wasn't about to let her drag this into my brother's living room. What do you want? I asked. I want to make this work, she said. I'll go to therapy. I'll cut off Josh. I'll do anything. Just come home. I stared at her for a second, really looked at her, and all I saw was someone who regretted getting caught, not someone who regretted what she'd done. No, I said. You don't want me. Like, you just want the comfort back. She started crying again, but I wasn't moved. I didn't destroy this marriage, I told her. I just stopped pretending it was alive. Then I walked back inside. Didn't look back this time either. After that doorstep confrontation, it was like the last thread snapped. She didn't message me again for a while. No more texts, no surprise visits. She just vanished, at least on the surface. But I knew better. Mutual friends started reaching out. Apparently, she'd been telling people I'd emotionally abused her, that I abandoned her, that I refused to work on the marriage after she had a moment of weakness. One friend, bless her honesty, sent me screenshots of a group chat where Kay said, he was never really present. I felt like a roommate for years. Josh actually listened to me. Is that such a crime? As if listening was the problem and not, lying, sneaking around, and planning a future with another man while I was vacuuming dog hair off the couch we bought together. But here's the twist. Some people believed her, or at least didn't want to pick sides. A few mutuals dropped off the radar completely. The classic, we don't want to get involved excuse. Let me tell you something. If you ever find yourself in that situation, pay attention. The people who go silent during your worst moments, they were never really on your side. But I wasn't alone. My brother was a rock. My mom, too. Even a couple of Kay's former friends reached out to say, yeah, we always had a weird feeling about her. One even told me Kay had flirted with her husband once. That tracks. Meanwhile, I'd started seeing a therapist, weekly sessions. It wasn't just about the affair. It was about me figuring out how I'd ignored the red flags, how I let myself shrink to fit the version of man she wanted. Quiet, predictable, obedient. The truth, I was afraid of losing her for so long that I lost myself instead. But not anymore. I was done grieving a marriage that only existed in my head. Now it was time to rebuild on my own terms. So therapy helped a lot. More than I expected. It wasn't just about unpacking the betrayal. It was about figuring out who I was without the marriage hanging over me. I started doing things for myself again, something I hadn't done in years. I signed up for that guitar class I always joked about but never took. Started jogging in the mornings. Reconnected with old friends I'd drifted from because I was too busy with marriage stuff. One night, I was scrolling through old photos on my phone, saw pictures of us, happy, laughing, full of plans, and I felt this weird mix of sadness and relief. Sadness for what was lost, relief that I finally saw things clearly. Then came the hardest part, telling Kay I didn't want to try again. She messaged me one afternoon. I miss you. Can we please talk? I'm serious about changing. I took a deep breath and typed back, I'm glad you want to change, like, but I need to focus on healing first. Maybe someday we can talk. For now, I'm moving forward alone. That was it. No drama, no fight, just honest. And maybe that was the real growth, letting go without bitterness. It's been a few months since then. I don't know what Kay's doing, and honestly, I don't care. I've got my life back, my self respect, and for the first time in a long time, hope. If you're reading this and going through something similar, here's what I've learned. Trust your gut. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Evidence is power. It helped me move from confusion to clarity. Protect your mental health. Therapy saved me. It's okay to walk away. Sometimes love isn't enough. And finally, you deserve honesty, loyalty, and respect. Don't settle for less. I'm still healing, but I'm hopeful, and that feels like a win. About a month after I told her I was done, I got a letter in the mail. Yep, an actual handwritten letter from Kay. At first, I thought, really? Is this a rom-com now? But curiosity got the better of me, and I read it. It was a weird mix of apology and self-pity. She said things like, I know I hurt you. I wish I could take it back. I was lonely and lost and made the worst mistake of my life. I thought Josh made me feel seen, but it was all fake. I see that now. She even admitted to lying during our confrontations, claimed she panicked and didn't know how to tell the truth, said she hoped someday I could forgive her, not for her sake, but for mine. I'll give her this. It sounded sincere, but you know what I realized while reading it? I didn't care anymore. Not in a bitter, angry way. I wasn't sitting there wishing her the worst. I just didn't feel anything. Not love, not hate. Just done. I folded the letter, put it in a drawer, and haven't opened it since. That was our last contact. No more texts, no more calls, no more drama. Just silence. The real kind this time. If you made it this far, thanks for reading. Seriously, writing all this out has helped me more than I expected. It gave shape to the chaos, put the pain into words, and reminded me how far I've come. So here's what I want to leave you with. If you're in a relationship that feels one-sided, trust your instincts. Don't ignore red flags because you're afraid of being alone. Being alone isn't the worst thing. Being with someone who makes you feel alone is. Love without honesty is manipulation. Loyalty without reciprocity is just self-destruction. And forgiveness doesn't mean you have to let someone back into your life. Sometimes forgiveness is just letting go of the weight they left on you. As for me, I'm rebuilding, I'm learning, I'm healing. And for the first time in a long time, I'm free. If you're ever in this situation, choose yourself. Every single time, you're not broken, you're just done being lied to. And that's not weakness, that's power.